Hey, everybody. Welcome to Fantasy Fullback Dive, brought to you by the good people at the Roto Street Journal, paving your way to fantasy glory, acting as your lead blocker to fantasy excellence, making all your football-related fantasies come true. I'm your host, Nat the Truth Jones. With me, as always, the Wolf of Roto Street himself, starting a little bit late tonight, but it's okay. We got a real barn burner of a game coming up here in Week 12. One thing about the Cleveland Browns, they put butts in the seats. People are going to be, throngs of people are going to be looking forward to seeing this 2-8 juggernaut as they face their division rivals, the Pittsburgh Steelers. Like I said, with me as always, the Wolf of Roto Street himself. Wolf, how you doing? I feel like it's been a while since you and I have successfully completed a stream. I've been almost like a month probably.
Probably, you're right. Yeah, I'm sorry we're late. You can even see the paint. I had no time to get home and even wash it. I am just live from the bathroom painting over here. But I had to get live for the folks here. I got to get live with you. Like you said, it's been a couple of weeks here since we've been able to make it through. And I know you're just talking about like a barn burner of a game. A lot of people dumping on it. But I got two things to say about that. One, when like we're in the heart of that sportless time in the summer, and all we're doing is begging for a single drop of football. Like, remember this feeling, because
I'm gonna watch. You're gonna
watch, and you're gonna think it's boring, and then you're gonna remember back and be like, I would do anything to have the Steelers and Browns on my TV in a bad weather game, which we're gonna all dive into in a sec. How impactful is it? In fact, I'll change up the rankings right now live with you guys, because honestly, I haven't had a chance to even do it yet
behind
today.
The curtain. Okay,
we're gonna do it live, folks, and we can talk about the weather, Boswell, all these people. How should we rate it? But man, like so it does look ugly on paper, but I kind of feel like that is football, not these dome shootouts. And I get it. I love it for fantasy. Those games are fun, but like an ugly divisional, bad weather, we're going to just beat the living S out of each other and just go nuts. Like I love that. It's probably going to be a 12-8, like a hideous game.
Right.
It's going to be a flop fest. And I love that kind of football, like just bodies on bodies. Let's just beat each other up, and who's the last man standing? It's not pretty boy football tonight, and I kind of love that, you know?
I know what you're saying, and I agree with you. I mean, just to give you an idea of how bad my team is, I got 3 guys going tonight in a game that is
that's not what you want.
No. It's a game that is going to feature probably no offense at all. I'm rolling 3 of my 10 guys out tonight. That's how bad my team is.
Who are they? But before we dive
into our previews, the aforementioned Chris Boswell is one of them. I know we're going to address with the weather, and it is going to be some slop out there. It seems like rain and snow mixture, little gusts, not huge gusts, but it's going to be like 96% of the game. Like we're going to have some precipitation coming down. People are going to say like, well, should you start Boswell? And I get it. I mean, he's not going to put up 25 points this week like he did last week, but I don't think I'm going to find somebody better than him. So I'm rolling him out. And I mean, them not being able to get into the end zone, I could see him still kicking a few field goals. But other than that, I've also got Nick Chubb and I've also got Cedric Tillman. So it's not great.
It's ugly out there. Yeah, we'll dive into all the prospects for all those guys. You already kind of alluded to the weather, which we'll dive into. The elusive, though, before we dive into too much, Anthony Fellow with the pre-stream super chat. I don't know if I've ever seen that one. You're a legend, fella. You super chat us week in and week out. That's already so appreciated. But to do it before we even get live, I mean, come on now. That's the type of stuff that's why you come out of the bathroom from painting with paint all over your hands, because you got fans like Anthony Fella. Like I see all the regulars already showing up. We already got almost 300 people live with us before I said it truth. Like these are the ugly games that people love to just come out and like, for whatever reason, these are the ones that put the asses in the seats. So cheers, but Fella, thank you so much. Toss it in the super chat before we have a chance to even get live. You're the man. Let's go.
All right, well,
I'll dive into this one and help you out.
He says, what's up, Wolfpack? Pick 2, full PPR, 1 wide receiver, 1 flex. Tillman, who I mentioned earlier tonight in the weather, or DJ Moore, Tank Dell, or Cade Otton.
Pretty great question here. 2 full PPR, 1 receiver, 1 flex. So it's not DJ Moore for me. I'll save you that. He's just in a congested 3-headed target pie that's getting split up so unpredictably by a quarterback that can't sustain 3 mouths with any regularity. I did like what I saw last week. I thought the offensive coordinator change, simplifying the offense, getting the ball out quicker, side like 7 for 7 for DJ Moore, all positive trends, but he still got out targeted by Rome Odunze. The next week it might be Keenan Allen scoring 2 touchdowns. maybe he goes off. The Vikings aren't a bad matchup. In fact, it's a top 3 matchup for wide receivers. I still don't trust him at all. So it comes down to me, Tank Dell versus Tillman. And I do think that's the type of question where they're so close to me that I probably would go to Dell because of the weather. And we're going to pull in the rankings and kind of redo these things. I think as of right now, Tillman's higher for me. I love Tillman. I actually have to probably check my lineups before I go here because I have Tillman playing in almost all of them. And I'm like, how much do I have to adjust for this guy? So we'll do that live. We'll figure out exactly where he goes. But my first reaction to this is I'm going Tank Dell over Tillman. Do you think I'm overreacting, Truth? Like,
No,
if you got
I don't.
Tank Dell, would you go?
I don't at all. You picked the 2 guys that I would pick, and I came to the decision quicker than you did, I would say. I don't have to make this decision because I have both Dell and Tillman starting on my team.
Yeah.
Cade Otton is the clear number 1 to me, and
Yes.
I would probably lean Tank. I mean, you saw Tank last week, and it's like he didn't do much, but like the guy's getting 4 or 5 catches a game. He has serious downfield potential. I'm rolling him out over Tillman. Maybe with the weather not being a factor, I might lean Tillman. Even then, I might still go Dell. But with the weather being what it is, I'm definitely going Otton and Dell.
Yeah, Otton 110%. I'm with that. And how far we've come. It was only, 4 or 5 streams ago where Otton was, you ate something. You had a drunk bag of chips and you
now we're like, clear number 1.
Clear number 1. Like he's a top fillet, full meal, Cade Otton. He really is, though. Like he's a clear-cut number 1 option. I know Mike Evans is coming back, so it probably changes this. I mean, absolutely will change the target distribution somewhat, but I do think Cade Otton really has become like that big-bodied Chris Godwin style role.
He's like the 4th best tight end in football.
He really is. It's nuts, and he's really impressed me in that span. So yeah, we're gonna go Otton. We're gonna go Dell. We do have some more super chats, so we'll get there. But I just want to wrap up for Fella here. That I love the Tank Dell matchup against jumped off the top of my head. Who are they facing? I just literally escaped my mind right as I was I know I liked it, and then it just literally mind blank. Breathing in too much paint today. Who is it?
The Titans.
The Titans, yeah. So again, like, are they gonna need to put a ton of points on the board? No, but that's a team that Dell has historically roasted. Either way, I guess it gets a little closer with DJ Moore and Tank Dell. I just think this is one where it would push me away enough from Tillman. We'll talk about the weather in a little more detail, Fella. But it could be a real slop fest, a real this is where like Nick Chubb should have his breakout game. I know you talked about playing him, Truth. We'll see how it flows. But I'm going to bench Tillman. It makes me nervous because I really do love what I've seen from the guy. I know last week was by far his worst game. He had 3 straight games of legitimate top 10 wide receivers of 9, 11, and 12 targets in that span. And I hate benching him. But then we saw Jeudy emerge as the number 1 guy. And now, again, Winston throwing for 390 yards again. Just don't see it on a night like tonight against the Steelers defense, even in perfect weather conditions. That would be a hard ask. Never mind in a slot fest game like this. So yeah, I'm going to be going Otton and Tank Dell. And you said you agree with those 2, right?
I do.
Awesome. And we'll see again exactly where I rank Tillman in just a sec.
Flex, Najee or Tracy? And thanks for the super chat, Manny. We appreciate it.
This is a great one. I do lean Tracy. Tampa Bay giving up the 5th most points to running backs. Tracy, the clear-cut guy, so involved in every facet. But I do love Najee tonight. Like, this is not a slight on him. This is the type of game, and what I wanted to talk about when we get to the weather section, and we'll reiterate, is Mike Tomlin's come out and said, not even just tonight, just on multiple occasions, that in these sloppy, cold weather, late season games, Najee's like, I forget the exact thing he called him, but he was like a mop-up slop. Like, he's just like, he's the guy we are going to mop up, like, this, just the perfect Najee. This is what we have him for. So lean on him in these moments. And historically, it's true. We've seen Najee. It's not Derrick Henry level of like December comes and it's just like, oh my God, it's going nuts. But Najee historically has been phenomenal in December, the late season games. I know we haven't quite hit there, but this is the type of weather. The snow's there. It's windy. It's a type of Najee game. So I really do love Najee tonight. And that just shows you how much I love Tracy, that I would absolutely play him without any hesitation.
It's easy to love Tracy, I got to say. I also lean Tracy. I'm not as big a Najee stan as you are, but I definitely hear where you're coming from. The weather tonight worries me for all the offensive players. It's, you say like, oh, this could be the game that Chubb breaks out. It's like, I don't know, man. I could see these guys both running for like 40 yards or something like that. So I would lean Tracy.
Yeah, I definitely lean Tracy. I could see Chubb definitely busting and just because he hasn't looked good yet.
So. I hope he's awesome.
I think Najee is going to have a big game tonight. Like if I'm playing DraftKings, he's my captain. I have him in 10 out of 9 out of 10 sit starts. I'm probably going to say, excuse me, Najee. But Tracy's he's a top 10 running back for me. Like I love this guy. The electric talent. He's very impressive to convert from a wide receiver and just have the vision he has. The breakaway speed, so involved in the passing game. Am I worried about DeVito? No. Like, can it get that much worse than Daniel Jones? No. So I don't get why it's not Drew Lock. I do have questions as to what this team is doing. But ultimately, I love Tracy. He's going to want to make right for that fumble. I think we're going to get like a 20-point Tracy day, whereas like Najee is going to, as much as I love him in this type of environment, this type of situation, I think he runs for about 90 yards tonight and maybe gets in the end zone. But in a game like this, like Najee's capped. I can't, unless he gets in the end zone twice, which he could. I think he's capped, whereas Tracy's ceiling, we've already seen it. It's just like 30 points. So Manny, I go Tracy here. The upside's too much to pass up. He's got the better matchup as well. Even though the conditions actually favor Najee, whereas everybody else in this game, I think it's going to be a detriment to. I still go Tracy in this one. And Manny, thank you so much. I know you are regularly super chatting us on Thursdays, on Sundays. You come in time and time again and support your boy. So thank you so much, Manny.
We actually got two more. Jose, thanks a lot. Zay, Jennings, or Pickens at the flex. That's an interesting one. Do you feel like Jennings is like the best wide receiver on San Francisco?
I have Debo and Jennings, and I'll tell you this: I have to play them both because of I actually don't know if I have to play them both, but if I have to decide between one of the two, I'm playing Jennings over Debo.
That's crazy, and I agree also, but that's crazy.
He's a beast. Like I watched most of that game last week, and he's awesome. It makes you wonder, like, anytime he's gotten used, the Super Bowl, and then anytime he's played this year, his yards per route run, if you want to go in the analytics, yeah, sure. Like, everything checks out. He's against man, against zone. He's the best player in that. But then just eyeball test wise, the big boy catches this guy makes, just like, hey, every D-back, he's going over and ripping the ball out. I love the guy. He's so fun to watch. As a blocker, he's throwing people out of the window too. Like, he's just one of those players that he's a wolf guy. Like that's the type of player I love to get behind.
He's a nutcracker set guy.
Oh yeah, he's like a nutcracker set. Like the bonus, you didn't think you were getting a bonus nutcracker, but here's Juwan Jennings in your box too. Like
mail in like 10 proof of purchases and $1.99. Like you can get the Juwan Jennings nutcracker.
Absolutely, yeah. He's a limited edition. Like you didn't think it was coming, but it is. So this is a really tough question because as clearly I absolutely love.
Clearly we're all up this guy's ass.
Juwan Jennings. But if there's somebody I like even more, it's George Pickens. I mean, what this guy has been doing these last few weeks, like 30% targets per route run. I think he's got 3 straight weeks in the top 7 wide receivers. I mean, the conditions are bad, but that's not a guy I can bench.
This guy thrives on just like insane catches where you're like, what? Like, and that seems like that is something this weather could lend itself to.
Right, exactly. He's the type of guy that I can't put him on my bench. And maybe this is the night that you should have, and you're going to sit back and like, damn it, like I kind of had in my gut I should have benched him. I don't know though. I sadly don't have Pickens in many leagues. Out of all, I had the bust article where I think I hit 5 out of 6. Pickens was one of my wide receiver busts, and man, that's the only one I missed, and I missed hard on that. And I love the player. I just was like, oh, Arthur Smith.
I thought the quarterback situation was going to kill him. I didn't really doubt his talent, but I mean, it seems like he's handling himself anyway.
Oh my God. And the thing that's, so one, those two warts, the quarterback, the play calling, both of those things. One, Russell Wilson just looks way better at minimum at just getting the ball out there. The moon balls that he's patented for are perfect for a guy like Pickens who, 50-50 balls are 80-20 with George Pickens, like 90-10 balls. You know what I mean? Right. He just goes and gets everything. And then the play calling issues for so long in the beginning of the year, it was like, okay, I was right about that. He's only running 70% of the routes. Now he's at 60. Last week, he ran 100% of the routes. He was on the field for every snap. And it's like, finally, he's woken up.
As a fantasy, nothing gets you off more than 100% of routes.
Exactly, especially for George Pickens. And so when he's that talented, he's playing that much, which he should have been every single
They throw
game of
to
the
him
year.
all the time.
Better late than never.
Whenever you're like, oh, because you know how we watch football, and unless the person looks super distinct or you can see their number, just for a split second when the quarterback throws it and the guy catches it, you're like, oh, the Steelers caught it. Don't know who it is. With them, it's always Pickens. Unless it's like Freiermuth or something, you're just like, oh, Pickens again. Like, oh, wonder who that is. I'll bet it's Pickens. Right.
Yeah. So, a little bit of a difference between Freiermuth and Pickens. I think
right.
I can distinctly tell.
Right.
There's something about those two. I can kind of pick out the difference. But you're right, though. Like every single time a wide receiver goes up and gets it, you know who it is. It's George Pickens, and it's a highlight play. It's probably in the back of the end zone. I can't bench him. And that's coming from a guy who loves Jennings, of course loves Zay Flowers. Like, Jose, I don't know how you can't have at least two of these guys in your lineup.
Man, do something, because they're all solid, man.
They are all extremely solid. Like all of these guys, we're gonna again go to the rankings and kind of readjust for the weather tonight. I guarantee you Pickens will remain the highest, but I feel like all these guys are at minimum top 20 for me, and at least maybe two of them will probably be in the top 15.
I can tell you this: all three of these guys would be the best receiver on my team. Well, you know what? I got BTJ. So that's maybe not true, but
I'd put all three of these with Trevor Lawrence probably done for the year. I'd put these three ahead of him.
Maybe. Yeah, maybe. I mean, he scored, I guess, 12 points last week. Yeah. Okay. Fair.
Yeah. But man, great options, Jose. I do still go Pickens, as you can tell, just another one. But that's the thing is me and Jose must have similar taste, because he's got a couple Wolf guys there, like just big bodies that can go and make plays, that are just like immense among boys, that like to block too, that, you know, you got I still just think of that day, like the night that he got drafted, Pickens, when he just stood at the TV like a sicko and just stared at it that way. Like from that moment on, I was like, this guy's got it. And someday it will get unlocked, and it's finally getting unlocked. I didn't even have to see him go onto the field as that NFL level. You just know when someone's got it, he's got it. And yeah, I'm going, despite the weather, I'm going Pickens here.
Me too. We got one more super chat, then we can actually get into the pod.
I love it, though. I mean, you guys are so generous. Cheers. Thank you guys so much. Saul coming in here. Great to see you, Saul. Super chat us last weekend. Coming in with another one. Thank you so much, brother. So generous of you. I really appreciate it. So
real quick, Stafford or Winston?
I got to go Stafford in that one. And it would have been Winston without the conditions, but of course you want to root for Winston. You love Winston. We all do. This is not the night where I have to roll him out in a league. Like it's him or Tommy DeVito, and I got to go.
You have Tommy DeVito on a team?
No, I don't. He's on the waiver wire, so it's like I got to pick one of the two.
Well, yeah, you're going.
And I'm gonna go Winston. You know, at that point, just like all right, roll the dice for the guy I love and just hope it goes right for him. You know he can sling. You know he wants to sling. 2 out of his 3 games so far starts have been over 22 fantasy points, but this is just, it feels to me like the classic, like 2 pick sixes right off the bat. Winston's like kind of flailing around out there, and it's tough. Yeah, let's go indeed. As much as I love the guy, you look on the other side of that thing too. Stafford coming off a 4-touchdown day. Eagles, that Sunday night game, you couldn't ask for more polar opposite game environments, right? Like Steelers, Browns, hideous, ugly conditions, dome game, Matthew Stafford at home, Eagles probably putting up 40 points themselves. So now you got a shootout style environment. To me, I got to play the game environment. As much as I love Winston, most times I honestly probably would go Winston. Last week, I told everybody to play Winston. I was plus 10 ECR, and that worked out great, and I loved it. This is not going to be a Winston game, in my opinion. What about you?
I'm going Stafford, and it's a pretty easy call for me.
Yeah. Play the game environment there, Saul. Thank you again so much. Great to see you showing up, super chatting. You're a legend. All righty, that wraps up the super chats, guys. But thank you guys so much. If you do want to cut the line, by all means, toss us something. It really does go such a long way. You can buy the man a gallon of paint here. I legitimately have not stopped painting since this new house. I love it. Everything's going great. I don't mean to sound complaining. I'm not at all. The only complaint I do have about it is like it's just meant less Roto Street time. I have not been able to do my waiver wire stream since we got in the house. I haven't, this is our first Thursday night football stream since I got the house, and it was literally just like last minute. I had to get paint all over the hands. Like it's awesome, but it's that's the one complaint I have is I miss being able to give more attention to the RSJ, but it's how it goes,
Listen, man, that's life. As a homeowner, I can tell you, you're going to be glad that you did it, but it's going to be a pain in the ass for a little while. I am glad we got on the air tonight because you and I haven't done we were perfect through like 8-9 weeks.
Yeah.
And then we had Halloween, and then I glitched on one, and then we didn't go last week because you had to paint, and so it's been a while. But this is good. So the last time we did a full pod, remember there was like 200 people. But I still say that was clearly a mistake. Like it was not true. But we're 20 minutes in. We got 1,000 people with us today. So that's
hell yeah. Cheers, baby.
So let's talk about. We haven't even gotten into the over/under in the favorite. Pittsburgh is a 3.5-point favorite. They were 3, and it has moved a little bit. And the over/under 36.5. I'm assuming that's gone down a bit too, right? Well,
so it started the day at 37, I believe, and now it's down to 36.5. It was -3 for Pittsburgh. Now it's -3.5. So a little bit of movement on the line. And I'll tell you this, I'm taking the Browns 10 out of 10 times with those points. I think it's going to be too close of a game, a divisional, especially now that you got that half point. I think that's big. I don't see this game being it's going to go one of two ways. Again, Winston, 2 pick sixes, and now the Steelers just destroy them. I think the Browns are going to play them real tough at home. The interdivision contest. In fact, in my confidence league, I don't know if you ever done one of those, Truth. They're so much fun, the confidence leagues. I'm going with the upset of the Browns tonight. I'm going to take the Browns for the win, and they're going to beat the Pittsburgh Steelers at home. The Steelers are riding high. I think they're one of the best teams in the NFL. I don't think they should ever lose to the Browns, but it's just always the Browns always play them super tough. It's those that and in the AFC North especially, those battles are always hard hitting. And with this sloppy game, with the dog pound cheering, a short week for Pittsburgh, and I think it's going to all come together. And we're going to get like a Jameis Winston heroic late drive, a game-winning field goal perhaps, although Dustin Hopkins, who knows, maybe he's going to blow the game for him the way he's picking. That last game was an embarrassment. So the more I think about it, if this game comes to Dustin Hopkins' foot, I don't love it at all. But something tells me the Browns win this one. I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy.
Yeah, I do. What do you think about the over-under?
I'm going under either way.
Yeah, so I'm taking Pittsburgh in the under for obvious reasons. And I mean, to me, it's like what you're saying is not crazy. The half point does bother me a little bit, but I mean, at the end of the day, I think the Steelers are a really good team, and I think the Browns are really bad. And we got the division rivalry. We got the weather. Those are all things that maybe bring it closer. At the end of the day, I expect Pittsburgh to win. I mean, I think it'll be ugly, but I like them by probably like a touchdown. So I'm willing to give up 3.5 points.
Yeah, that's the smart bet. There's no doubt about it. That's definitely the smart bet. When I was setting my confidence league first thing this morning, I was like, all right, Pittsburgh 10 points. I feel great about them. One of my favorite bets of the week. I don't know though. As the day went on, I just kept picturing like a Jameis Winston, the Cleveland Browns rallying around him, everybody celebrating, the dog pound going nuts. Okay. It's really going to be polar opposites. It's either going to be that environment where it's just electric in Cleveland tonight for a disgusting day, everybody's pumped up, or it's like everyone's leaving at halftime, boo birds. Like, this is just a gross game, and Pittsburgh goes in and steamrolls them, and it's one of the worst games of the year.
Listen, I hope you're right. I hope that Nick Chubb and Cedric Tillman go off, and I hope that the Steelers are limited to only field goals. That would be the best possible fantasy situation for me. But it's hard for me to see it going that way. So I'm picking Pittsburgh. With that said, our good friend, Katie, my good friend, Katie, I think she's your relative.
Your best friend and someone I know just a little bit.
Right. No, I'm a fan. Katie's awesome. Hey, fellas, tough bye week. Need 2 wide receivers in a flex, full PPR. Samuel, Jennings, Dell, Tracy, Pollard.
So Samuel, I assume, is Debo, not Curtis.
I'm assuming Debo. Right.
Yeah. So to me, the easy locks here, Tracy for the flex. You're getting Jennings in at one of the receivers. So then it comes down to like, do you really want to play both 49ers receivers? Because in the rankings, it would be Jennings and Debo and then down.
You would definitely play the Niners guys if we're going by the rankings. But yes. I see what you're saying.
It does get tricky. And I have both of these guys myself, and I'm facing that decision too. Like I have a decent wide receiver option on the bench, and it's just one of those things where do I bench one of these two guys who I have ranked higher than that receiver just because of the fact that they might cannibalize each other? And to me, I'm going to lean into that game. I like the 49ers versus Green Bay matchup. That seems like a game that could open up real fast and like points on points on points going back and forth, in which case both guys just go off. I have both of them pretty significantly ahead of Dell, like 10 plus spots for either. And so if it was a little closer, maybe you don't want the cannibalization, but I do think there's a world they can coexist. They're two great receivers.
I'm taking.
You're shaking your head. What are you thinking, True?
I'm taking the Niners receivers and Tracy.
Yeah. Okay. Great.
I see what you're saying. I understand. I feel like at least right now, I mean, I love Tank. I want him to do well, but the gap between those Niners guys and him is too significant for me to get cute. And think about what a dumbass you would feel like if one of the guys, the guy that you benched, like went off.
Exactly.
You'd be so mad.
In my league, I actually have CMC as well, so I just have all Niners. So I'm hoping for touchdowns.
I'd rather have all Niners than the stuff I'm putting out there.
Yeah, it's obviously a great offense to be fully concentrated on. There's no doubt about that. So you kind of it's that your ceiling's a little limited, of course, when you have everybody on the same team. But that's the type of offense you do want to load up on. And there's definitely a world where both Jennings and Samuel score. There's plenty of volume to go around there, even though there's a lot of mouths to feed. It's like kind of the opposite of what we're talking about with like the Browns. Lots of mouths and a very poor quarterback. Yeah. Purdy can feed these guys.
And Tank scored 2 touchdowns this year. Like it's unlikely you're going to get burned on this. I feel pretty strongly about this one. Katie, meanwhile, like I will always love Katie because she made me seem super cool in front of my wife at your wedding. She spotted me like across a crowd and was like, "Truth." And my wife, who's always just kind of thought this little thing we were doing is just some ridiculous little side thing. Like there were tons of people at your wedding that just knew who I was that had never met me before. She was like telling my daughter, she's like, people like know who Dad is. And Katie,
it was classic. You would have been surprised at how many people when they're like, "Do you have any RSJ's guys coming?" Like, is the Truth? Like, I've never the Truth coming. I was like, he is the Truth. You'll get to meet him in the flesh.
Yeah. I had and on my wedding invitation literally was addressed to Nat the Truth Jones. So
exactly.
So, like I said, I'm always happy when I see Katie in the comments.
Oh yeah, no, Katie
asked me up in front of my wife, and Lord knows, after having been married for 22 years or 21 years and change. Believe me, you'll appreciate it in 21 years when someone gasses you up in front of your wife because she is so sick of me just on a day-to-day basis. Looking cool was an awesome treat for me.
That's awesome. I love it. That's more value than any super chat could ever bring. Gassing up the Truth over there. I love it.
Appreciate it.
That's phenomenal. But yeah, so we're going both 49ers. Tracy clearly over Pollard in the flex. I love it. Yeah, if Tank Dell had been better this year, it would be trickier. But if
this was last year's Tank Dell, he'd probably be my first pick out of these 3 guys.
Yes, yeah, exactly, right, exactly, but not quite. All righty, so that I believe wraps up the super chats, guys. Thank you so much for your generosity. As you alluded to, Truth, we got 1,180 people with you. If you don't mind hitting that thumbs up button, it really does help us get out to more people. Free way to support the channel. Of course, any new subs, I'm seeing some new people in the comments. We'd love to have you join. The numbers continue to climb, even though the streams have been dropping off, which is so appreciated, guys. And again, like I said, I wish I could go live as often as I used to, and I'm going to get back in the groove once we're all settled in. Like, there's no doubt about it. Fantasy playoff time, your boy's going to be here. He's going to be locked in. But these next couple of weeks, still lots of assembly. I can't leave Hillary doing it by herself. We're in this together, and we got to get the home ready. And it's unfortunate time of the fantasy season, but it's such a blessing to have such a great place to be able to take care of. And yeah, we got to do what we got to do. But you'd be surprised at how little new wives want to be left painting the entire house by themselves. I thought you would love the thought of it. Yeah,
right. I know. This is a pro tip from the Truth on someone who's been married over 20 years. Yeah, that you should.
People need to know
You made the right choice.
Estimate. I can't paint the living room. Yeah, exactly.
Don't worry, I have to do a waiver stream. Come on.
I got a marriage to preserve. As much as I want to help you guys with your waiver wires, yeah,
right.
there is a word. But no, I want to keep playing the hits, and the Thursday night streams, the Sunday streams, we will definitely keep playing the hits, baby. But yeah, we gotta dive into this weather because that's going to impact a lot of people's questions. I think that's why a lot of people did show up tonight. Is how impactful will the weather be? So I pulled up Weather Underground, and I'll just read quickly what I'm seeing here, and then I'm going to pull in my rankings and just kind of make some on the fly adjustments for you guys to consider. And then, of course, we'll be on to – there's no more stories we're going to cover. We can kind of wrap it all into this, and then we'll get on to all your questions. So pardon the delay, but this is, of course, the most important thing tonight, so we want to cover it in some depth. So we're seeing right now Weather Underground, my favorite hour-by-hour resource. There's going to be snow tonight, snow, sleet. It's going to be pretty ugly with precipitation. There's expected about a half inch to 0.6 inches to fall. So nothing crazy, a light snowfall, but still snow on the ground nonetheless. The big thing that you want to track, though, for passing games, for kicking games, is wind. And what we've got early in the day, there might be 20 to 30 mile per hour gusts. It could be horrible. What we're seeing right now, the worst of it, is looking at about 13 miles per hour, which is worrisome. It's not like it's nothing, but it's once you get above the 20s, that's when it's like, kicking in this is going to be impossible. Throwing in this, it's going to be real difficult. 10 to 13 miles per hour, certainly you'd rather not have it, but it's not something that's going to completely throw off your game plan, that's going to change everything. Does this all make this game a little bit uglier, make the under more likely, make fantasy points a little bit harder to come by for other than Najee and the running games? Sure. But to me, I'm not going to, again, we're going to adjust the range on the fly to see just how much we adjust for it, but I'm not going to be overly dramatic in this. Early in the day, I was ready to drop these guys huge, but 11 to 12 mile per hour winds, some snow, but nothing crazy. Unless, again, you guys watching live might also have like the pregame stream live, and if it looks worse than what I'm describing, we don't have the luxury of watching both at the same time. So please do comment that in and let us know.
I'm going to put my iPad on it right now. And
perfect. So Truth will get a live look as well, just in case, because sometimes the weather sites say one thing, and then you're just like, "But are you watching this pregame stream? It's absolutely disgusting."
Right. There's literally a blizzard going on right now.
Yeah, right. Exactly. They're in the locker room. They cannot come out to play the game because there's so much snow. Maybe it's worse than what's that projecting, but from what the hour by hour from 8 o'clock to 11 o'clock says, maybe most an inch falls over 4 hours. That's nothing too crazy. At worst, it's going to be about 13 mile per hour winds. That's nothing crazy. But again, we'll get some eyes on it. Truth's going to pull it up to just double check, what it actually looks like. To me, though, as he's grabbing that, and interrupt me at any point, Truth, once you kind of see it.
It's at a commercial. When it comes on, I'll let you know.
Okay, sweet.
We got to. You want to take a super chat while we're waiting?
Oh, we do have a super chat. Absolutely. Yeah, let's take the super chat. And they always get to cut the line. And then we will be sure to jump into the rankings here. But thank you so much, Vanessa. Very generous of you.
Vanessa has a serious question here.
I love this.
First of all, thanks for the $5. We appreciate it. I'm tied for first place in an all-male league. Good for you.
Let's go.
I'm tied with my brother. That's okay. Now shit got real.
Even more.
So it is a must-win. I need 2 wide receivers: Pickens, Dell, Tillman, Evans. I know what I think. What do you think, Wolf?
Yeah.
And I'm pulling for you, Vanessa.
Oh, yeah. The stakes couldn't be higher. I absolutely love this all-male league in first place, showing the boys what's up. Hell yeah, brother. Let's go. Now you got to kick your brother's ass. Even more satisfying if you pull that one off, which you will pull it off. Let's go, Vanessa. To me, as long as he's in and he's healthy, it's Evans and Pickens. Like, those 100%. Are the 2 monsters. Is that how you I saw you nod right away. You're feeling the same way, 100%. Truth?
Yes. So I do absolutely feel that way. Real quick, and we can elaborate because Vanessa did shoot us the super chat. Right now, there's definitely precipitation coming down. It's 37 degrees, and they very clearly just said on the screen that they're gusts 20 to 22 miles an hour.
That's worse. That's worse than we were saying. I'm glad we got some eyes on it. That's worse than what Weather Underground is saying.
And just so you know, that does match with what I saw when I originally looked up the weather for you and told you it's 20, and then when you looked it up, it was much less. So that does fit with what the forecast that I saw. But this is live. Like I just saw this like a minute ago.
Yes, we'll change our opinion a little bit. That's great. I'm glad you said that. So that's even more reason that Tillman can kind of get crossed off on this list. And then again, Tank Dell, not the guy he was last year. At least whether it's him, whether it's the offense, a little mix of both. It doesn't seem like Stroud's clearly not. Whether again, is it play calling? Is it Stroud? A mix of both. I'd say it's a mix of both. Stroud is not the defensive head film. They seem to be figuring him out a little bit more. The play calling has also been so pathetically conservative, and they're winning. So I get it. Mixon gets involved. That's probably the biggest reason for all these struggles is because Mixon's been an absolute horse, and he's been great with the volume. Why would you go away from this guy 30 times a game? And that just that speeds up the game. It rips away passing volume all at once, and that just means less volume for all these weapons to feed. And now Nico Collins is back. So to me, the weather obviously is a concern for both Pickens and Tillman. But like we said, Pickens is just too damn good. Like he's just such a stud that I can't.
No, the weather's the same for him, but they're not the same. Like
no.
I mean, Pickens and so to me, Vanessa, this is easy. Pickens and Evans. Obviously, you could get unlucky, but I would go with that. I would go with that and feel pretty confident. And I would really like you to promise to let us know what happens in this game.
Yeah, if you can make sure, Vanessa, I'm just gonna pull your super chat down. The banner's up in the way, but my handle, and you might already follow me. I'm not sure. I'm at Roto Street Wolf. That you can see right there. Make sure to DM me. Let me know how this goes, what the battle's at. Follow up with with Pickens gets low tonight. What do we do from here? I'm very invested. I want to know how this goes. We are certainly pulling for you. I hope you kick. You already are kicking all the boys' ass, but now it's come down to the quote unquote final boss for now. It's regular season. We get it. You got to win the championship. That's what matters most. But there's a lot of family pride on the line. There's a lot of let's go dominate the rest of these boys in this league too. So we're pulling for you. I think just the talent level of Pickens and Evans, because they've really taken it slow with Evans. This is his first game without Godwin now too. He's going to get some real volume here in a good matchup. You can't bench him. He's probably my favorite option here. And then Pickens, despite the weather concerns, he's just been too good. I can't bench the guy. And he's more, like you said, bad weather, but one of these guys, Tillman versus Pickens, one's more weatherproof than the other. And that's Pickens. He's just I really do think he's probably a top 3 wide receiver talent. Not top 3. That's aggressive, but top 10. The circus catches this guy makes week in and week out. I'm a huge, this is the type of game that I don't think weather can stop him. He's that good. And he's at least now playing the full complement of snaps and routes. So yeah, we're cooking him up. NC Firearms, man, how generous can you be? Love it. $10 super chat. And this is not his first time doing that. He
does it every show.
He's the man. Thank you so much, NC Firearms.
All right, start Tillman or Warren. Also with the weather, Pickens or Adunze?
Yeah. So I still got to go Tillman over Warren. That's where I'll start to kind of draw that line. Jalen Warren, this is a Najee game. Tomlin's already been on record multiple times saying in the bad weather, the cold weather, when it gets gross, that's when we lean on Najee the most. And yeah, Warren, he'll get his carries too, but this doesn't look like the Warren of last year, the explosive guy that led the league in so many efficiency metrics. That's not him right now. And maybe the bad weather dictates a couple of dink and dunks. So yeah, maybe. But Tillman's a great player. Him and Winston have really meshed. And even in these weather concerns, 3 out of the last 4 weeks, Tillman's been a top 15 wide receiver, and 2 of those have been top 6. That's the type of upside, whereas Warren hasn't been even in the top 30 wide running backs in the whole season. So I'll go with the guy that in 3 out of the last 4 has been a rock solid wide receiver 2, if not a top 7 guy, versus a guy that really just hasn't shown no ceiling at all this year, despite the weather concerns favoring running backs. It favors the other running back on the roster more anyways. So I'll just go for the upside of Tillman and what he's been doing all year. So that's the first one. Do you feel similarly there, Truth?
I do. Yes.
Yeah, that one's, again, maybe Warren outscores and maybe the weather's bad enough that the whole passing game gets neutralized and Tillman does nothing. But I'd rather take a shot on the ceiling that we've been seeing these last few weeks that we just don't see at all with Warren this whole season. And I like Odunze. Don't get me wrong. I like that he led the team in targets last week, but it's not even close. It's Pickens. Like Pickens is just too damn good.
I agree.
Yeah. All righty. So we're not letting the weather dictate those guys for us. But thank you, Vanessa. Thank you, NC Firearms, and everybody else. Keen, Fella, Jose, Saul, Manny, all you guys coming in with your super chats. So generous, so appreciated. We really do appreciate everything, guys. But let's pull in the rankings now. So that was good context, Truth. I do appreciate knowing that. Yeah, it is actually 20. We said like 20 is the threshold where you do got to get a little worried. Okay, I'll admit it. I'm a little worried now with those weather concerns. So I already was lower. We're at the quarterback section here. I was already lower on Jameis than I usually am. Last week I had him at QB 8. Now I have him at QB 19. I look at this and I'm like, Caleb Williams, I don't, despite
I'm probably not moving him.
I don't think I'm moving him. I'd rather have Jameis if I had to play him tonight. He has the higher ceiling. Tommy. No, I'm going to go with Jameis. Like that's where he is. You know, I don't love it. I wish I could feel better about it, but look who's below him. Like he's my quarterback 19 in a league that I have Josh Allen on bye. None of these guys, Tommy DeVito's available. I'm not going to go Tommy DeVito over Jameis. I'm going to go to Jameis. So yeah, he stays put here. I know this doesn't matter for today, but the more we talked about that Eagles game, the more I was like, Matthew Stafford's throwing like 3 to 4 touchdowns this week. Yep. So I'm bumping him up just because we're already in the quarterbacks there. So we'll get a little bump up there for him. Moving to the running game, I talked about how this is a Najee night. Like this is the type of game that Tomlin has already said we love to ride him. I know I'm repeating myself, but I do anticipate a decent bump up here for Najee. He's my running back 20. Again, I like kind of where he's at, but I prefer him to Aaron Jones, Kareem Hunt with Isaiah Pacheco coming back. I like him more than Ramondre, who has become a featured back these days. And Miami's a good matchup. Brian Robinson, I think, steamrolls Dallas. So I think 15 is kind of where I slot in Najee here. Truth, what do you think? Ramondre, Kareem Hunt, am I crazy to bump Najee over him? I know you said you didn't love him.
Yeah, but I don't love any of them this week, if I'm being honest. I mean, I love Kareem Hunt against Carolina in theory, but the Pacheco return does worry me a little bit.
Yeah, if there was no Pacheco, Kareem Hunt against Carolina would be James Conner territory up here in like the top 10. But yeah, I think this is a great game to ease Pacheco back in, but also let him vulture a touchdown, let him get his feet under him and feel good. I think I'd rather have Najee than a committee-bound Kareem Hunt. Although both those guys could score, Kareem Hunt could have a great day. I feel good about Najee in this ugly weather. I'm not going to put him above Ramondre in a good matchup because you did allude to the fact like this could just be hideous, and it might be 15 to 20 carries for Najee that go for 40 yards, and it's just hideous. And he does his cold weather mop up duty and does nothing with it. I don't even know if I like him over Kareem Hunt. The more I think about it, like.
You get all excited, and then
I know, and then I reel back because then I'm like, okay, J.K. Dobbins has a revenge game, and Aaron Jones has been a beast this year. I'm gonna bump. You know what I need to do? I'm gonna bump up J.K.
Let's just put him right back where he was.
Yeah, and he goes right back to 20 now. So two spot increase for him. But I already kind of was factoring that I like this type of matchup for Najee, and now it's a little bit of a bump to him. But I kind of like this. Running back 18 right about there is what I feel good about. In terms of Chubb, again, like I just keep him right here because I like Pacheco coming back and scoring. Javonte in a great matchup against the Raiders after he kind of took the backfield over. I'd rather have Pacheco than either him or maybe not Pollard. But yeah, Chubb just hasn't looked good enough. And this is the type of game he should break out. If he does, I'd love to see it. Nobody likes Nick Chubb better than me. I've always loved this guy. But he has just not looked like Nick Chubb. And why should he? He just had a horrific knee injury. And we're not even like, we're right around the full year removed now. But that looked like more like a year and a half, like 2 seasons to kind of get yourself back.
Terrible injury.
Terrible injury. So I like Chubb. This is the type of game where maybe he just falls into the end zone. But if they get down early to the Steelers and then he gets game flowed out because Ford was mixing in, you can kind of see I have Ford right here, in decent striking distance.
Totally happen.
Yeah, it could definitely happen. And he is game flow dependent with Ford back. And yeah, I feel like 27's pretty fair for Chubb. He's not getting any type of adjustment. I guess my rankings were kind of in line with how this game's going to go, but it is also more the passing game impact here. So let's check out the wide receivers. We've gotten a lot of questions on Pickens. And okay, Pickens over Cooper Kupp, no. Over Tyreek Hill, no. Maybe not over Terry McLaurin or Mike Evans or even Malik Neighbors. We got a Pickens versus Juwan Jennings, and I think we both said Pickens. And
we did.
Oof, I think that's probably where I draw the line. Weirdly, I do feel better about Jennings. The other thing we had to consider with Jennings, he had that great game last week, but there was no Kittle, and Kittle should be back this week. And that's the one thing that's tough about these 49ers. And again, Katie, if you're still watching, I'm not benching those guys. I think there's plenty of great mouths, and they're going to get theirs. But now you add Kittle and then CMC and all these guys. Pickens is the show. And so even in bad weather, as much as I like Juwan Jennings, could the weather erase Pickens? Potentially, but probably not. Whereas could all these other phenomenal mouths around Jennings make him a little bit less? Maybe. He's also seen 11 targets in back-to-back weeks, so it gets tough, but I like this. I think Pickens at 11, do you think it's fair the guys I bumped him below? Or
I think it is appropriate, and I would still keep him above Jennings.
What about Malik Neighbors? That's
Neighbors is the only one. I mean, Neighbors and Evans, I both give me a little bit of pause. In a vacuum, Evans I would easily have over Pickens. He's coming back from injury. Part of that worries me a tiny bit, but yeah, I'm comfortable with him above Neighbors. I'm just not sure about. DeVito is going to be just peppering him. I mean, maybe he will, but I might put Pickens over. I'm putting Pickens over.
I think so too. Yeah.
When I realized that Tommy DeVito is part of the equation, I just talked myself right out of it.
And it's one of those things where it can't be worse than Daniel Jones, right? But at least Daniel Jones was giving him 12 targets a game.
He's a starting quarterback for a reason in New York.
Yeah. But at least we knew what we were getting with Neighbors with Daniel Jones. It was bad volume, but it was volume, and Neighbors was making the most of it. It should be better theoretically with DeVito, but we don't know that yet. And what if he does just spread the wealth a little bit more and it's not a target hog show? I mean, the matchup with Tampa Bay is as good as it gets. They have been so juicy, especially for the deep ball. So I love Neighbors, but yeah, if I had these two and I had to pick one of them, I know I'd be going Pickens.
Right.
So got to have the rankings reflect it.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Sorry, no, you go.
No, I was good. I thought we were done. I was like, we got a huge mailbag. We got half an hour till kickoff. But I forgot we hadn't done. We hadn't done tight ends yet.
Yeah, tight ends though. I'm thinking of this game, and I'm like, all right, I don't care about the Steelers guy. Freiermuth. I don't even know where I have. Is he even ranked?
He's 17.
Oh yeah, he's there at 17. I just don't see him doing anything. I'd even rather have Schoonmaker than him. And then on the other side of things, I do still love Njoku. In fact, maybe he's like one of the only passing game guys that gets a little bit of a boost here. Because
you're not moving him past Cade Otton. So I mean, you're not.
No, certainly not above Cade Otton, and I'm not going to bump him below Will Dissly.
No.
So that seems about right for him.
Exactly where he's supposed to be.
And then the defense, I think I already had Pittsburgh number 1. I just want to confirm because I really do think Pittsburgh D might go off for like 15 points.
15. I think you're being conservative, dude. I really do.
Yeah.
You got them true. One. I wish you could move them higher, but you can't. You can't move them higher.
The question then becomes truth. And I don't know if we're getting any kicker questions in here because kicker are people too. I had Boswell at 3. Now, 20 miles per hour, as good as this guy's been. You know the stats. Rip off a couple of those Boswell stats you were telling me before we went live.
Boswell, just to be clear, Boswell has I forget how many extra points he's kicked this year, but he's hit them all. And he's 29 out of 30 for field goals this year. And that his only miss was a kick well above 50 yards. Other than that, I mean, I believe on the year he's something like 90% on 50-yard field goals. And I mean, some of those, we in the game we just saw. I mean, I know one was a 58, one was a 56. I think. I mean, the guy has an extremely accurate and big leg. He's a great kicker. The only kicker in the league who might be as good as him is Brandon Aubrey, but he's kicking in Jerry world. but just because he's the best kicker in the league, maybe, rain and snow, 20-mile-an-hour winds is a great equalizer. Let me tell you.
It is. Again, the winds being the bigger concern here. Oh man, yeah, I can't have him top 3. I'll tell you that much. And
you can't have him
he's
in
on
tier 1.
I think he's on pace to score the most field goals in a single season. He's set to break that record this year. For all those stats.
He's going to score like
it's
50
crazy.
field goals.
Which is incredible. Most weeks he's the no-brainer. 25 fantasy points last week, so I can totally. There's 2 angles to play this. The smart angle of this is bad weather. This is not kicking weather. He might be one of the best kickers. He's got a booming leg, so maybe he does have enough to just boot it right through this wind, and it's going to be true all night. That could be real, and so you don't want to go too crazy on this. And then you factor in the fantasy locker room. Like, we just saw this guy go 25, and you're about to tell me we're benching him, coach, because of a little snow, a little wind. Is your locker room going to stay rallying behind you? I don't know. But I would bump him. And this is the exact question my brother was texting me earlier today. I love Chase McLaughlin. He is an awesome kicker for the Bucs. He's had some 18-point days on the year. He gets the Giants. Evans is back, so his offense gets another huge piece. And they already were just on turbo jets. I think that's where I slide him in. Like, Chase becomes my kicker 6, Boswell my kicker 7. Spencer Schrader I've seen a lot of praise for the Chiefs, but I think that's one of those games where it's just like touchdowns on touchdowns, and you get like 5 points because they get 5 touchdowns. And I don't like that guy anyways. He looks like a little nerd in his picture, and I just fantasy locker room guys. I'm not benching Boswell.
But I mean,
25 for a little nerd.
If you're not benching Boswell, and I mean, honestly, if you have Boswell and you bump him from 3 to 7, it's not like now you're not starting for him. Nobody's carrying 2 kickers, and one of them's like the number 5 kicker, and you're like, all right, well, now I'm going to pull him. And he's still a starting kicker. So, the range between what the computer would project between the top kicker and the 8th kicker is probably like less than a point anyway.
Yeah.
So I think you're fine. You're fine.
All right. So Boswell, kicker 7. Let us know what you got. Again, I understand the fantasy locker room implications. I understand the weather implications. So right in the middle here, as good as he's been, that feels right. Would I rather have Chase McLaughlin in my lineup tonight or this week rather? Yes. Is that worth cutting Boswell for the season? Probably not. So unless you really had a piece of bench trash that you knew you could get rid of, then yeah, you're probably just sticking it out with Boswell because he's just too valuable season long anyways. But every point does matter. And again, a guy like Chase McLaughlin, who I really like this week, is out there on a lot of waivers because of the bye. Yeah, it's Siebert. I've seen, is probably coming back, and has multiple 15-point days. There are options this week. And I think if I somehow have that luxury of carrying 2 kickers, which is a weird luxury, I probably would bench Boswell for like one of those guys. But yeah, you can see he's still most likely starting for most people. So weather impact, yes. The overall summary, bumping up Najee, bumping down the passing game guys. I guess we didn't consider Tillman, who we're getting a lot of questions about. So let me just make sure I rank Tillman truth. And then we might have to be on like close to a rapid fire because it is a lot of questions. And I feel bad that we took a lot of time doing this, but this is the important part of the game is the weather. So Tillman to me, yeah, again, you can see how high I am when I'm having 25 over some of these names. We did mention we'd go Tank Dell over him, but I still rather have him than Jeudy. I think I'd probably bump Jeudy below Rome, but he had 11 targets last week, so I can't go too hard on that bump down. Elijah Moore, this is about right. Yeah, I'm not going too crazy. So a little bit of a downgrade. You can see Tillman now, my wide receiver 29, just ahead of Tank Dell, or just below Tank Dell, just ahead of DJ Moore. And that's why we answered that question earlier, and that's exactly how I feel. So yeah, we're going to push this update through, and then we are going to get to all your questions, guys. Thank you for letting me do that live. Again, time has been strapped, as you guys know, and I greatly appreciate your patience to get to your questions here. But now we have these updated for the rankings, which is huge, and we can now go to your rankings with a nice full head of clarity here. So let me pull out the rankings. And let's get to those questions. Let's go.
Right.
So 1,800 people. I come back from the rankings. Man,
we silently through 5 minutes of Steelers kicker talk. We gained a couple hundred more people. So we won't go rapid fire, but let's just try to hit them fast because we do have a big mailbag. Okay.
Awesome. Yeah, and we'll go rapid fire. Let's call it in like seven minutes or so. We'll go rapid fire just to make sure we can get through as many of these guys. 1,800 of you here, though. That is an awesome. That's a record for Thursday, if I'm not mistaken. Truth.
It is. And you and I said jokingly over text, like, we haven't gone together in like 3 weeks. We got a crap game. That's usually what brings the people out for some reason. So thanks for being here with us.
Yeah, and as you know, that thumbs up goes such a long way. So thank you again so much for being here. Right as we're about to hit the regular mailbag, we did get another NC Firearms. So generous, already hit us with $10. Now send in another $5. So thank you so much, brother. Anybody else that wants to cut the line, that's the way to do it, is the super chat. It goes such a long way to helping your guys out here. The free way, of course. So as you're tuned in with 1,800, hit that thumbs up button, that heart button on Twitter, the shares, the likes, the retweets. It really goes a long way. And please consider subscribing. We'd love to have you. If you enjoy these shows, we'd love to go live and help you guys out multiple times a week. So thank you again so much, NC Firearms. So generous of you.
Let's hit this fast. Start Ridley or Jameson Williams. Also, I got Cook and Chase on bye. Do I keep Laporta and Hawkinson in, or do I start Adunze, Bateman, or DeMario over those two?
Oh, man. So I guess the easy answer to me then, to keep it simple for you, NC Firearms, is I'd play both these receivers. I love, JMO, big play matchup against a Colts team getting just destroyed in the deep game. Some of the most 20-plus yard plays allowed to wide receivers on a year. And Ridley's just been an absolute alpha since I cut him, of course. Yeah, the bad player coach fit. I had to get rid of him, and now he's just going to go absolutely bananas here down the stretch. My best ball teams are thankful for the move. My season-long team could really use a guy like Calvin Ridley right now. But he's gone from my roster, which means he's going to continue to thrive. He's been a guaranteed like 10 targets a week. Even for a little while, I was like, oh, it's just going to be him and Mason Rudolph. And now, even Will Levis, he looked good coming back fully healthy. And he was getting the rock to Calvin Ridley. So I go JMO, I go Calvin Ridley. I like those tight ends, but I would not start Laporta or Hawkinson over them. And I would not start any of those 3 wide receivers who are interesting options. But Ridley, JMO, both top 25 guys for me this week. Lock those 2 in. Feel good about it too, NC Firearms.
Yep, I'm with you.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much. So many generous super chats tonight. Let's get on to that regular mailbag. Because it is a loaded one, I will say this. If you repeat your questions, or not even repeat, but if you ask more than 3 questions, we're going to just go with your top 3 here. Usually we don't have to do that on a Thursday. We can just hit everything you guys offer. But we do want to make sure we get everybody a shot. So we will trim it down to your 3 questions. We've done that on a Sunday show a couple times. Truth, are you able to see the questions? Because I currently can't pull them up, if you don't mind pulling them up.
There you go. Would you start Pickens, Reed, or Downs? I need 2 of them. Who are you dropping, Wolf?
I'm going to go Pickens and Reed. I'm going to drop Downs. I know it was great to see him play well with Anthony Richardson last week. I still don't fully buy Anthony Richardson, especially as a pass catcher at least. Running around, sure. Looked motivated. Loved what I saw. But I don't buy that he's going to sustain a guy like Downs each and every week. I think that was a little fluky. So give me Reed in a shootout game. Give me Pickens tonight. As we said, we can't bench him. That's where I lean.
Bulldog, first to hit the like. Let's effing go. Thank you.
Yeah, Bulldog. Let's go. First one here with the like button.
He did that at 9:14 a.m. Papa Samo, Greg Sarno. Sup, boys? I have AJ and Nico at wide receiver. I have Kyron at running back 1. Good for you. Half-point PPR. I need a running back 2 and a flex. Dobbins, Tracy, Jennings, Tillman, Downs, Harrison. I think I know what I'm doing here. Hey,
all righty. This is great. Great squad here. To keep that one. Oh, there we are. Yep. I would go here. Running back 2 and flex. It's definitely Tracy for me. We talked about him a lot. And I think I'm going to be going Jennings over Dobbins and Harrison, the next closest options. I'm going Tracy and I'm going Jennings. And you nodded right away. So
that's what I'm picking too. Same thing.
Nice.
Can you see the questions yet?
I got the questions now. Yep, they came up for me. Let's do it.
All right, half PPR, Laporta or Kraft?
Laporta. I can't trust Kraft after a 0-point dud. I actually cut him in my league.
Bugman. Remember how awesome he was for like 2 weeks? Big bye week for me. Need 1 running back and 1 flex. Please, Dobbins, Stevenson, Tillman, and then at quarterback, Herbert or Murray. Thank you, sir. So we're dropping 1 of Dobbins, Stevenson, and Tillman. For me, it's probably Tillman.
I mean, Buckman, bye week woes. Look at this roster. You're like complaining about bye week rows. This is an impressive roster, my man. So, don't give me those big bye week unless you're just trying to flex, in which case, well done. I got to go here. Clearly Herbert for the quarterback, Ravens secondary, abysmal, giving up the second most points to QBs, most points to wide receivers. Gunslinging type of game. We saw Herbert when they get pushed by the Bengals last week, for example. This man can hang. We know he can hang. And I love that. I think that game is going to be a real fun Monday night barn burner. So give me Herbert there, my quarterback 4 of the week. And then for the flex, it's not going to be Tillman. I think I'm going Stevenson over Dobbins there.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. It's a running back and flex. So you just mentioned
Dobbins, Stevenson, and Herbert. No question about it.
Yes. Yep. Exactly. Yep. Perfect.
Giuseppe, Lamar or Daniels? And this is how you get your question asked if you're coming in late. Lamar or Daniels in Freiermuth or Shoemaker? What do you think?
So I'm going to go Lamar. Tough match against the Chargers, sure, but I think Lamar is pretty matchup proof. Both these guys are phenomenal. I love Daniels this week against Dallas. Should absolutely bury him, but sure. I can't bench Lamar, the MVP of fantasy, the MVP of the real world. Like, he's too good. And we saw again, this Chargers defense is good, but against good QB, like they faced very few, and we just saw Burrow go for like 28 points again. Lamar's going to do his thing. That game's going to be fun. The brothers duel, the Jim and John Harbaugh duel, like, they're going to bring out all the stops on both sides of that thing. So give me Lamar, and I go Schoonmaker, assuming that Ferguson's out. I don't want Freiermuth tonight. He only ran 55% of the routes last week. Darnell Washington's eating into that workload each and every week. And so, Schoonmaker, what did he have, like 10 targets last week? So I'm going Lamar and Schoons. What about you, Truth?
Same exact thing for the same exact reasons. Bulldog, awesome. We're gonna go rapid fire in like 3 minutes, guys. Bulldog, awesome. 0921, Jacoby Myers or Cedric Tillman, full PPR. I know it's a coin flip, but we would probably take Myers given the weather, right?
Exactly. Yep. Before this weather, before the stream, I had Tillman higher, and I changed it. I think that is an appropriate adjustment. Myers has been a target hog without Adams there. So, give me Myers.
Vikings D or Steelers D this week? Steelers, absolutely.
Steelers, and I love the Vikings. My defense 4, but Steelers.
Yeah, but the Steelers are the clear-cut number 1 defense.
Yes, 100%.
All right, Joyd 209. Start 2 flex, 1 quarterback, 1 tight end. Flex Kyron Williams, Ladd, JK, or Jacoby Myers if I get him in waivers. Purdy, Birdie, Russell, or Kyler, tight end. Laporta, Potty, Andrews, or Jonnu Smith. Thank you, guys.
I love all the phrasing here. So to bang out the tight end, I'd go Jonnu Smith actually over these guys. A 2 touchdown, 30-point day for Jonnu, right around like 25, 30, whatever that was. Whereas Laporta, obviously so many mouths to feed. Andrews, when likely came back, immediately took a big step backwards. So Jonnu honestly seems like the best option there. And then quarterback, I'm definitely going not Russ. I'll tell you that. Certainly not Russ. No. I think I'm leading Kyler. He's had 20 in like 6 of his last 7. He's been cooking. I love Purd, though. I like that game environment, as we talked about. So that one's really close, Droid. I do lean Kyler very slightly. And then in terms of the 2, I would go Kyron Williams, no doubt about it. And absolutely. I'm actually going Ladd over these other options against Baltimore, coming off an 11-target day, a 20-something point day. And now he gets the best possible matchup by a mile. Yeah, I'm going Ladd and I'm going Kyron pretty clearly there.
What about your tight end?
Jonnu.
Okay, gotcha. Cool. We're gonna go one more here, Wolf, and then we're gonna go to rapid fire because the people love us and they keep showering us with dollars. Cooler hand. Thank you. We appreciate it. And look, again, we went for a long time because we were on these things. Obviously, like, it's going to be tough to get to everything. Throw us a super chat. We'll answer your question. Although we're probably going to do it pretty quickly. Pick 1 flex PPR: Njoku, Jameson, Tillman, Dowdle. Thanks.
Coming down to Jameson versus Njoku for me, and that full PPR. I think I lean Njoku. Because Jameson, as good as he is, when he blows up big time. And he's got a defense that's ripe for giving up blow-up games. I love Njoku as that dink and dunk machine in a bad weather game. I could see him really getting like the 9 to 10 targets, 8 catches, and boom, in a full PPR. you've already got some real juice there. Whereas JMO, like, in a full PPR, he doesn't really benefit from that setting. And you look at it, 18, awesome. 1, 8, 23, awesome. 1, 16. Like, the busts are real bad. They kill you. I don't see a joke of busts tonight. And the ceiling is pretty damn close to what JMO's ceiling is, but a much more baked in floor. Like in terms of Njoku's full PPR last few games since Winston started, 24, 17, 8, and 19. I mean, 3 out of 4 have been monsters. And the dud is 8 versus the duds of JMO being 0 and 1, So I lean Njoku. What about you, Truth?
Well, I went into this question thinking I would go Jameson, but you're right. Boomer bust players really irritate me. And because you seem to remember, at least with me, because I'm a glass half empty guy, I remember the busts more than the booms sometimes.
Yeah.
And Njoku, a bust, 8 points, that's perfectly serviceable. So I think I've actually been convinced by you on this one. On one I disagreed with you on, I would go Njoku.
All righty, let's do it.
Against my instincts. All right, so look, it's 7:54. We got almost 2,100 people in here, which is kind of crazy.
Yeah, let's go.
But we're gonna go rapid fire. I'll chime in if there's a super chat or if I got a strong opinion. But other than that, Wolf, you're gonna have to go fast.
I'm going to go as fast as I can, baby. One last call with over 2,000 a year, nearly 2,100. That thumbs up button, the like, the heart, the retweet, the shares go such a long way. We'd love new subs, see a lot of new names in there. Please do consider subscribing. Let's get to as many of your questions as we can. Trade Tracy and Hopkins for Evans. No, I would not do that. I like Tracy just too much, and Hopkins the beast with the Chiefs. Lucio asking, start 1 half PPR, 1 receiver, 1 running back, 1 flex. D-Hop, MHJ, Downs, Najee, Bucky. For running back, I'm going Najee. For wide receiver, I'm going D-Hop. And for flex, I'm going, I think, MHJ in that one. Very close, though. Good options there, Lucio. Andre Stepwolf, start Najee tonight or play one of Dobbins, Moore, or Downs. I'm going to go Najee there. Dobbins is the next. No, I'm going to go Dobbins in the revenge game, I think. Very, very close. Start, yeah. Busy painting. Doing my best, Manny. Thank you again so much for the super chat earlier. Njoku tonight or Otten. I'm going to go Cade Otten there. Krana Shaw. This is going to be one where we're going to cut you at 3. Najee tonight or Ramondre. I'm going to go Ramondre very slightly. D. Smitty or Jeudy tonight. I'm going to go D. Smitty there. Krana and Roshan probably over Warren. I snuck in your 4th for you. Kyle, Tunes. Njoku or Hawkinson. I'm going Njoku there, Tunes. Trade away. I can't do a big trade question.
Yeah,
I'm sorry right now, but we're in rapid fire. There's just a lot of layers to that one. Tommy Taluga, need 3 wide receivers, running backs, and flex. Feel free to super chat, by the way. I'll be happy to dive into your trade question, but I'm sorry, man. We just got too much to do right now. Too many questions. 3 wide receivers. Need 3 PPR. Wide receiver, running back, flex. Tillman, Waddle, Eckler, Brooks, Bucky, or JMO. Definitely going JMO, even with St. Brown in the lineup. I'm going to go Bucky. And I'm going to go Tillman is how I would play that one. Tommy Taluga. Love that name. Tommy Taluga up the middle as a fullback, it sounds like.
I skipped 2 because you already answered them.
Yeah, Saul super chat us. Thank you again, Saul. I saw that. KC or Broncos. I'm going to go Broncos, Tommy Taluga. Apex. Should I start A.J. Brown? Should I trade away? Probably not. I like that options. I'd keep A.J. Brown there for sure. 10-team full PPR. Who you starting? Jalen Warren or Trey Benson? Gangweed NBA 4KT. I would go Jalen Warren, I guess, in the ugly game. Maybe he gets a little burn here tonight. They're one of the run happiest teams in the league. What's up, homies? Just started watching your channel. Love it so far. Hell yeah, John Ellis. Welcome on in. Hit that sub if you enjoy what you're hearing. John and everybody else. Got Stevenson and White, JSN and Tillman. I'm going to go JSN over Tillman. I'm going to go Stevenson over White. And unless you're starting all those guys, it sounds like actually. So trying to decide flex. Chubb, Ridley, QJ, or Brooks. Yeah, I'd start all 4 of those guys over these flex guys. Yep, and then I'd go Ridley for the flex of those other 4, John Ellis. Best of luck and welcome to the show. I hope you enjoy it.
Thanks for watching. We appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. Paroka, trade away. Sorry, again, trade questions are really tough right now. I don't think I'd do that deal at first glance, though, Paroka. I don't like it. You're giving up the best 2 players, in my opinion. What's up, fellas? For Forever Eagles, who should I start in my flex? Jerry Jeudy, Chubb, Noah Brown, Cam Akers, or Palmer? This is one where I'd go Chubb or Jeudy.
I want to say Chubb.
Yeah, I want to say Chubb. The 11 targets for Jeudy are very appetizing, though. In full PPR, If it was half, I might actually go Chubb, but in full, I'm going to take the stab on that Jeudy game not being a fluke and just roll with those targets there. Jose Laredo, I have Neighbors and Collins starting. Yeah. Oh, yeah. He was talking about his amazing options. He's got an absolute squad there.
Bill.
That was a beastly wide receiver core. For my man, Bill Jagier, not super chatting like his wife, his much more generous wife over
here. I know, seriously. Come on.
Gross flex options, half PPR, 16-team league. Yeah, I'm in that league, Bill Jagier. I know all about it. Charbonnet, Roshan, Deontay, or Wicks. I would go probably Roshan here. Maybe Wicks, but I'm going to probably go Roshan there. Let's go.
16 teams is a lot, Wolf.
It's brutal. But I'm in second place there, baby. Kicking some family league ass. Let's go. So hyped for Nico this week, as you should be, man. He's an absolute monster. I'm going to go Debo over MHJ, Ashton Buckner. Start Tillman or Adunze. I'm going to go to Tillman there, LBJ. Charles Ward, full PPR. DJ Moore, Quentin Johnson. I'd go DJ Moore. I get the neutralization aspect of the quarterback there, but I'll just go with DJ Moore. Jaws, what's up, man? Jagier, Perry, Nolan, KD rankings.
I would switch Perry and Nolan around, but I agree that Jagier should be first.
Yeah, KD Jagier first, for sure. Is Pickens a good play or no for tonight? Yeah, he absolutely is, Corey. You got to play Pickens. It's just he's too good every single week. Start Steelers defense or Broncos? You got my top two defenses, but the Steelers are the number one there.
Steelers.
Yeah, it's Steelers, baby. Krana sneaking in another one there. Jennings, Downs. I'm going to bench Downs there. Krana. Wolfie, are you updating Brown's pass catches? LBJ, I don't know if you
did it live.
I live updated all the rankings there. Slight downgrade for him, but it wasn't anything like I can't play Tillman tonight. So. You know, you got to keep rolling it. Are people sleeping on Hawkinson? I got Bowers, so I'd love to trade him. I don't think tight ends are so hard to trade, the onesie positions. Just doesn't typically work there, Willie. I do like Hawkinson, but Bowers is just a complete tier above the rest, you know? Eckler or Tillman? I'm going to go Tillman there. Simp. Giuseppe Crusoe. Fryermuth or Scoons? I'm going to go Schoonmaker there for you, Giuseppe. And then we got to Melvin Torres asking, start Warren or Hunt at my flex. I would go with Kareem Hunt, no doubt about it, Melvin Torres, even with Pacheco coming back. Njoku, Otten, or Johnny, you got to go Cade Otten, Justin Whitney, top 5 tight end each and every week. Dale Sullivan, pick 2 running backs, 2 receivers, and 1 flex. Najee, you got to go Henry. Come on, don't ask about Henry. And then Najee for me for the running backs. And then we got Hill. You got to play Hill and Neighbors. And I would go for the flex here. That's where it gets hard, Dale. You can limit this one down. You knew you were going Hill and Neighbors. You knew you were going Henry. I do think Najee is the next clear best running back. And then for the flex, of all the rest, I think I'm going to go DJ Moore in that matchup versus the Vikings. I just don't love Dowdle, and Eckler's stuck in that committee. And Dale, new viewer, loving the vibes. Hell yeah. Love that you're here.
Having you here. Thank you.
Yeah, hit that sub and come on back, man. Sunday at 8 a.m. will be when I go live next, Wolfpack. We'll never miss those 8 a.m.s no matter how much painting I'm doing in my life. Thank you, Dale, so much. Hopefully you sub and come back. We'd love to see you. We'll be on the lookout for you. Armando Zepeda and anybody else that's enjoying it, please do subscribe and consider hitting that thumbs up button. It goes such a long way, guys. Hey, what's up? Would you start Jeudy, Leggett, or Westbrook? I'm going to go Jeudy for that one. I know the weather's concerning, but I got to stick with it. And full PPR and Boswell is a start. Yeah, damn weather's making me overthink. So you saw, if you missed it, Armando, I did bump him down to my kicker 7. Those rankings are live at rotostreetjournal.com. I didn't put updated in the front. I should have. But I just didn't have the time in the middle of the live stream to do it. But ultimately, you're probably still playing Boswell, but I will say.
For him not to be a start, you got to think like he's like going to be like ranked 13 or lower. I guess. Yeah. I think you got to put him out there. He's maybe the best kicker in the league. So
he's so damn good. If you can somehow squeak in like Chase McLaughlin on the roster without cutting Boswell, then yeah, maybe. I really do like Chase this week. But ultimately, I got to keep rolling Boswell in most situations. Fantasy locker room vibes need to be there. Tillman, then we got just lost my place for a second, but I pulled up Tillman, Waddle or Quentin Johnson. Yeah, this is one where the weather is it a concern? Absolutely. Am I going to bench Tillman for Waddle, who's done nothing? Quentin Johnson, who's super boomer bust? Nah, I can't do that, Zach. And then Cronishaw asking MHJ, Debo, Reed, pick 2 PPR. I got a bench. I'm going to bench Reed for that one.
Reed in that one.
Yeah, it could be 3 catches for 130 and 2 touchdowns. It might be 2 catches for 30 yards with Reed. You never know. And then we got Krona saying, thank you, guys. You both are awesome. Remember to subscribe and like y'all. Absolutely.
Dude,
Thank you so much.
Killed that mailbag. That was some real rapid fire, Wolf. I think maybe we thought it was maybe bigger because we had so many super chats in there, but we'd already done those. So
I know
we blew through it. You did a great job. We got 2,200 and change in this room right now. This is a lot of people.
Yeah, thank you guys so much. So many of you here. Those live rankings, again, as I updated them live on the stream for you with the weather impact, those are live at rotostreetjournal.com. I'm going to make sure they got pushed through just for these last minutes here. But yeah, awesome time, guys. Record-setting Thursday night for views. Please do, again, consider that thumbs up, the heart, the like, the shares, the retweets. It really does go such a long way. rotostreetjournal.com is where we are all our content. But this was amazing. It's been so hard to again, all this time, I don't mean to sound complaining. I hope I don't come off that way. I'm loving the new house. It's been awesome to renovate and paint and do so many amazing things. Of course, it came in the heart of football season. It was the end of the first quarter at school, so I had all my reports to write and grading and all that. It's been a storm of everything, and it has unfortunately come at the cost of RSJ. My tweets have been down. My live streams have been down. But man, it feels so good to go live and still 2,000 of you here. Like, it's awesome.
They're here. They're waiting for you. So, the people are waiting. It's cool.
Yeah. And it's just good to see you, Truth.
I was going to say, man, at the risk of sounding like overly sappy, it's been weird not talking to you for like 3 weeks.
I know, man. It's been way too big. That was like the main motivation to go live, honestly. It was like, I got to see the truth. It's been too long since we got a show in together. So no, that was
probably the biggest show we've ever had.
This is a record setter. I think even more than Sunday, like 2,200. I don't think
you told me you got a little over 2,000 once, but we're well over that now. So
yeah, this is awesome. You guys are the best. Again, check out rotostreetjournal.com. Armando is saying McLaughlin's available. Again, does it come at the expense of
maybe Armando? I'm a huge Boswell stan. If you got the roster spot, I might roll with McLaughlin here.
Yeah, that's strictly though if you have the roster spot, Truth. Like,
if you don't want to cut anybody worthwhile because it's kind of a push. But I mean, just on weather alone, I might lean McLaughlin. I hope I don't regret saying that. Think about if there's really anyone you're willing to drop for him.
Yeah, exactly. If you do have that trash to cut, and I would not play McLaughlin at the expense of not having Boswell on my roster anymore. So yeah, if you have the trash to cut, I do think all things considered, the weather pushes it over the edge. 20 miles per hour winds are no joke. This is a guy with a huge leg, the power to push through it. Sure. No doubt about it. But ultimately, the locker room vibes, if you cut a kicker that just scored 25 points, that could send your team spiraling. So you don't want to do that. So
it'll probably drop MVS. I hear you. Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, I would drop MVS and play McLaughlin.
Seriously, now I'm going to pay a lot of attention, see how this works out because I would drop MVS for him.
Yeah, I would do the same. Also because, and so my brother, this was a tricky one, and this might help you, Wade, Armando, and anybody else considering this Boswell dilemma here. He dropped, I believe, Braylon Allen, one of the most valuable handcuffs in the game. They don't have a game this week. And a lot of waiver wires, they sort the top available by projected points. Well, Braylon Allen's not going to be projected for anything because he's a handcuff and he's not playing this week. So he's a guy like in MVS, another one, not playing this week, not going to get projected. He'll probably slide through your waiver wires, right? And so if you play on Yahoo, Monday rolls around and you really want MVS still on your roster, see who did crap on your bench, or maybe someone got hurt, you can cut them, and you scoop MVS back up, or you scoop Braylon Allen back up, and you have that handcuff locked and loaded for the stretch run. That's a smart play, and that's how I would do that for these bye week guys on your bench that you don't really love, you don't need, and they're not going to gain any value this week anyways. Yeah, cut them. Go with McLaughlin, the similar, I was going to say, as good of a kicker. No one's as good as Boswell. This guy's going to break records this year. But this is the tough night for it. This is not the night where he's going to really boost those record stats.
I'll be sad if he misses a couple kicks because of wind tonight and it hurts his percentage too bad. Because
I know,
because these are ridiculous conditions. Can you imagine if this guy was kicking in a dome?
I mean, like Aubrey, he'd be.
It's like Aubrey, except he gets more opportunities and he hits them all.
Exactly.
Did you see in the Cowboys game? By the way, the Cowboys are just terrible.
Yeah, they are.
Did you see Aubrey kick that 64-yarder like it was nothing?
Nothing, just Drano.
It had yards. Like it was like he probably could have gone for 70.
Yeah,
crazy.
110%. Nicodemus Miller coming in with a question. We're kind of riffing because we have a few minutes till kickoff, and we're happy to keep answering. Guys, if you have more questions, by all means, get them in. And Nick getting one in here at the close to the buzzer. Najee and Njoku both were starting, and we talked about this. I think this is the weather that actually benefits both of these guys.
Pretty clear starts. I mean,
they're both. It depends, of course, Nick, who your other options are. But I think they're both actually like sneaky benefit from this weather. Najee in the sense that Tomlin loves to ride him in the bad weather. Njoku in the sense that it's a dink and dunk style passing game most likely, and he's that main vein over the middle. I mean, we talked about Njoku. His floor in full PPR was 8, and he had 17 or more in 3 of the last 4, 19, 24, 17. Unbelievable. So I can't bench Njoku. Certainly a tight end, like unless you have Otten, McBride and Bowers, like there's of course Kelsey. You're not benching Njoku. He's my tight end 6 of the week. So, and then Najee again. This is the type of weather that they love to steamroll and ride him. So yes, I would absolutely play those guys tonight. Nick, and
another super chat, and this is before kickoff, so it's important we answer this quick. Jeudy or Dell PPR?
I'm going Dell there. I think I probably would have gone Dell anyways, all things considered equal, but especially with the weather, especially with the Steelers matchup here. I got to roll Dell. The 11 targets were amazing for Jeudy in a full PPR. If he does this again, he becomes an instant must start. But this is his first real, great game with Jameis.
Let's not go too crazy here. Like he had one really good game. We've been waiting for 6 years for Jerry Jeudy to do anything. Let's not get too excited.
That's the thing too, right? Exactly. The track record is not great with Jeudy. So yeah. I'm going to go Dell there. I feel better about him for sure.
Jonnu, Ertz, or Disley? I think we probably.
I'm going to go. Yeah. I like the Dis here. I like Big Will Disley. Big matchup against the Ravens, a top 10 spot there. Jonnu's a great option too. So those two are neck and neck for me. But I'm a huge fan of the Big Dis. He's really taken over as the clear number 1 tight end in a Greg Roman scheme that loves to feed him.
Nicodemus is back with another. McBride is actually his other tight end. He wanted to flex. His other options at flex would have been Connor, Taylor, Hunt, Pacheco, Chase Brown. What?
Yeah, geez.
Do you like Njoku more than all those guys, Wolf?
No, well, Chase Brown's on bye week. I would go James Conner over Njoku.
I would go Connor too, right?
Yeah. And we did get a super chat from Dale Sullivan here, so I do want to make sure to answer that. But yeah, I'm going James Conner over Njoku, and I love Njoku.
Thanks, fellas. Watson or Douglas? Yes, it's that bad. But for quarterback, should I roll with Kyler or Goff?
So I'm going to go Kyler over
Watson
Goff.
And DeMario, I think, right?
Yeah, so Watson, DeMario, Douglas. I was worried that it was going to be a question for tonight. So Dale, we can take our time a little bit with this one for you. I would go, I think DeMario Douglas, particularly if you get full PPR points. Watson's been really solid. I had that big blow-up game, 6 and 7. I guess I shouldn't say really solid. But DeMario Douglas in his games with Drake May, he's just been the main vein. And May is really impressing me so far as a Patriots fan. I know the wins haven't been there.
Fans are all up his ass, man. Oh, man.
As we should be, baby. I mean, this one does come down to a little bit to the scoring settings, and I hate to give you a cop-out answer there. But in full PPR, in the games that Drake May has fully played, DeMario Douglas has 12, 21, 3, 11, 9, and 10. He's been rock solid, going to get you those points. I do see Christian Watson, though. He has been cooking. The route share's up. Wicks has not been much of a factor. And he had 19 last week, 9, 8, 2, and 16. So across the last 5-game span, the floor has actually been somewhat similar. And the blow-ups have been certainly a lot higher with Watson. We like that game. I'm going to go Christian Watson over DeMario Douglas. In this case, I think there's just a little bit more upside there for sure. And then NC Firearms trying to sneak one in for tonight, and we want to make sure to get that before kickoff. Njoku, Otten, or Henry. I'm going to go Otten over all these guys. I would rank them Otten, then Njoku, then Henry. I like all three, but I go Otten, Njoku, or Henry for that one, NC Firearms. Thank you so much. In terms of Kyler or Goff, I mean, Goff coming off a monster day, put up 35 on me last week. Oof.
I'm going Goff. I'm just going to say it.
Yeah, I'm going to go Kyler. I like the rushing upside.
Yeah, I knew you would. I
like the game environment. I'm rolling that one. And then I'm going to go Tyron Tracy over Najee for sure, Kavakis. Hopefully you can get that one in ahead of kickoff. But I'm going Tyron Tracy Top 5 matchup. Awesome player. Absolutely love him. And we have just about reached kickoff, folks.
We got 2 minutes before kickoff. I just want to say something in addressing my Goff over Kyler pick.
Yes.
I love the Lions.
Yes.
I'm just telling you that they're the team that I probably pull for more than any team because, it's like I was a Broncos fan when I was a kid. Then I started, what's the point of being a Broncos fan anymore? It's a completely different team. But man, I love pulling for the Lions. They're so fun. They're just so fun. Yes.
Absolutely. Demolishing teams. They should demolish the Colts. And I think that's the same narrative would have applied last week where, they kill the Jags so much that Goff doesn't need to do anything until he throws for 4 touchdowns and has more touchdowns and incompletions for like the 3rd time this year. He's playing lights out ball. I totally get it.
Let's not forget that this is also a team that'll go for it on 4th down up 35. True. I mean, that's just a whipping it out on the table and just being like, let's go. I mean, there's not many teams that would do that. And whether you agree with that or not, as far as like being a good sport or a gamesmanship or whatever, the fact is like that's a team that's going to score you points. And fantasy wise, like, what a team to be in love with. Ooh, love watching them. So I'm going Goff.
Yeah. Okay. I think it's a fair assessment. I think Goff has the safer floor. But I like that Seahawks, that divisional battle with the kind of the title getting close on the line, a lot there. So I'm gonna stick to Kyler, but it is very, very close there. It looks like that's the last question of the night, guys. So cheers. Thanks so much to so many of you being here, helping your boys out on your way out, hitting that heart button, the thumbs out button. Subscribe if you're new to the channel. I'll be live at 8 a.m. on Sunday morning, continuing to answer all of your questions for the weekend, but best of luck. Hopefully you get what you need in this ugly game. Check out rotostreetjournal.com for my rankings, free, and for everything else that we do on the site, also free. Tons of great stuff. The trade value charts, the sit starts, all the stuff is such phenomenal content. So we'd love you guys to come and check that out. Great show, Truth. Awesome to be with you, setting records tonight.
Yeah, you too,
in a world full of fancy sheep, guys. Be the wolf. Later, guys.
Later.